Hi kids, this is Grandpa Rich. The slides you're about to see are a trip I took to Alaska with the Air National Guard. It was a 2-week exercise with the active Air Force. I hope you enjoy this tape. This is a bunch of slides that I took when I went to King Salmon, Alaska, when I was in the Air National Guards. And this is a picture of McChord Air Force Base, Tacoma, Washington. This is where we left from. And in the background there's big C-5A aircraft, which was the biggest cargo aircraft that the Air Force flew at the time. We had 3 trucks, 3 trailers, all our gear, and about 30 people, plus 10-man flight crew in there. And no sweat with the power. We did blow a tire on takeoff, which I was sitting right over the landing gear, and it felt like a stick of dynamite went off below my butt. But they have about 12 tires, so one doesn't make much difference. But anyway, this is where we left from, and mighty fine aircraft. This is a picture of myself and one other guy from the Guards that flew up with us. I don't remember these people's names, it's been so long ago, back about probably 1975, 76, somewhere in there. This is a picture of our crew who went up there. For all your grandkids, your grandpa's the third one from the right there on the first row. These pictures aren't really all that clear, but that's what happens when you transfer them to the VCR. Just a picture here of taken out of the window, up above the clouds. Look outside, it's so peaceful looking outside, but boy, inside it's like being inside of a cement mixer. It's so loud. Now, this is a picture of Fairbanks, Alaska. And right there where the water is, that was one time was all land, but during the big earthquake they had up there, and the tidal wave, that whole area there just sunk right outside. It's another shot of Fairbanks. Pretty big city. It's even probably 4 times that size now. It's a shot of the runway at Fairbanks Air Force Base. Big, right over there to your right, big, what they call the old C-133. It's another shot of the C-133. You can see the cargo hatch in the rear end there. That's where we drive our trucks and stuff up. This is prior to, we're just getting ready to fly up to King Salmon Air Force Station, which is a early warning defense station. You can see in this picture, you can see some of our gear there, our trucks over there getting ready to be loaded. Now this is where we're headed. We went from McChord, then we went into that Anchorage Air Force Base, and then we loaded on the C-133s, and now we're flying into King Salmon Air Force Station. We see the little white bubbles there. That's where we're headed. Early warning defense station. There's a shot of the station while we're on the ground. King Salmon, Alaska. Shot another C-133. C-130, I'm sorry. C-130 transport. all camouflage painted. You gotta remember, we're getting up pretty close to Russia now. When we first got the king salmon, they didn't have any quarters for us or any place to put us, so this was a fire station, and we just put some old cots out inside there, and that's where we slept for about a week. It's just in there. That was our accommodations, king salmon. This is a shot of the hangars. Painted, you know, they're all black. That's so they're hard to see from the air. This is a picture of the old grandpa there and his accommodations inside that fire station. That suitcase is my table. Good looking fella, huh? This is a picture of them. Those are our microwave dishes. We had 2 for each microwave van, and we had big cables coming down from each one of those and going into our van, and that's where we'd set up communication links with the aircraft and other ground command posts. I'm gonna try. Here's another good looking picture of your grandpa. See that mosquito netting on his head? If you didn't use that, you ate about 10 pounds of bug every breath. This is their van. There's the other 3 people on my crew. Good looking shot. All that stuff, you know, where you see all the bushes and stuff, that's all tundra, real soft ground. Freezes in the winter and then thaws about 6 inches on top in the summer. See the guy there with the mosquito netting on his head? Looked like something out of Space Age. I don't know who that is. One of the guys in the crew. This is a picture of our accommodations in the big hangar after we had to leave the nice accommodations of the fire hall. We either slept on the floor or we slept in cots. We had a good chow hall though, so we got fed pretty good. That's actually your chubby little granddad there. I was gaining weight from all the bugs I was swallowing. There's your grandpa sitting there inside the van, monitoring the microwave equipment. Almost doesn't look like your grandpa, does it? Guy's so young and handsome. Another shot of our microwave site. That's the crew from outer space. Must have just rained. Usually after it rains for about 15 minutes, bugs are just thick. A member of my crew. It's kind of a picture of our place, and we had it all camouflaged. Kind of looks just like a bump on the horizon. It's a little tent we set up beside our outfit, so you know, if we had to be on station, we were out there about 12 hours a day. A couple of us go out at a time. One guy just kind of knocked us a little bit of sleep in the tent while the other guy was on duty. We trade off every couple hours. Hardly looks like your grandpa, does it? What a handsome dude. One of my buddies up there, old Nicholson was his last name. He worked with me out in Talcoy. Well, this is a little bit of landscape pictures we'll be showing here. One day, 4 of us jumped in a pickup and we headed for this little seacoast town out by the water, just a little fishing village. Another shot on our way to the village there. Pretty flat, barren ground. Right there is part of the inlet, salt water. I think this was on our way back, probably. A little bit darker. Some more of the land on the way there. Just old dirt roads is all they had up there. All the gravel's hauled in from someplace and they build the road up about 6 feet from the tundra. Beautiful country though. Just you feel like a little ant compared to the vastness of just there's just nothing there but just land, land, land. This is going into that little village. Took us about an hour and a half from King Salmon just to get to this little tiny village. We're standing out on a dock here, I think, or maybe up on the road. Just all this little village is just it's like a processing place. Ships go out in the ocean to catch the fish, and they come back into these inlets here, and they drop all their fish off, and they can them. And then they put them back on ships and ship them down south. Now this helicopter you see here in the picture, we were going to take a flight up to what they call King Mountain. It's an early warning defense radar system. And we all loaded on the helicopter and we got about 20 feet off the ground and all the warning lights came on. So we had to sit right back down and jump out, run like hell, and all the fire trucks pulled up. See all the guys running around in white suits there, those guys are the firemen. Once we got once they fixed the problem, then we took off again and towards King Salmon. And the next bunch of slides will be of the country, the pictures I took from the helicopter on the way up there. Now that's not a wing of a fixed aircraft, that's like that helicopter you seen in the previous picture. They got little tiny wing on the bottom with some extra fuel tanks. But that big black line you see there in that picture, that was that road we drove up to that little village. Pretty barren landscape. How'd you like to live here, guys? No water slides, no movies, no malls, no anything. These are all pretty dull pictures, but when you're in an aircraft or in a helicopter and flying over this, it's a little more exciting than just sitting here watching still pictures. When we were flying up here in a helicopter like this, we did see about 10 or 15 moose different places out there. If you're up there hunting them, you'd have to have a helicopter to get out there to them. By the way, this music, I don't know if you recognize it or anything, but it's from Victory at Sea. Okay, these next few pictures are the second trip I took up the King Salmon, and it was aboard a C-130 troop transport. So you can see how much higher we are, and we did see a little bit different territory, a little more coastline. Quite a difference. How'd you like to be stuck out there without a rowboat even? Got a pretty good shot of the rainbow here. See a lot of rainbows when you're flying. Some of them just not too pretty, and some of them just absolutely brilliant. Good picture of the wing gang. Just millions and millions of those little lakes. And they're only maybe a couple feet deep. No fish in them. Good moose country though. We're getting a little lower here. We're probably getting close to landing at King Salmon. Okay, this is where we're headed. You can see right there at the top of that mountain, that's what they call King Mountain. Big early warning defense system to try to check out missiles if they're coming into America. This place had a dirt runway, and the first time I landed there with the C-130, we hit that gravel runway and that gravel started hitting the bottom of that aircraft. I thought we crashed. We went up there in a helicopter the first time. We landed on a helo pad, so I never really seen the runway. It was quite an experience. Some of the radars up there on top of that mountain. Big brown bears come down at night they'll scratch themselves against that radar and stuff. And if you happen to be in one of the portable units, the guys up there said it just scares the hell out of you. There's a little lake, little crater lake up there in that mountain. And these guys would go up there and they'd be stationed up there for like 18 months. And most of them were civilians. But there was one guy there who had a scuba diving outfit. So he'd go down there and scuba dive in this ice cold water with this wetsuit and stuff. Just to have something to do to break the monotony. It was just as barren up there in that mountain as it was any place else. Even though that looks solid, it's just soft tundra. On the side of the mountain that we're shooting from here, just over that ridge there, there was a plane that crashed about 5 years before that. And the snow was so deep and weather so bad that they could never get to it. In the same year I was here, they finally got to that airplane, and there was 6 bodies all frozen and preserved in it. This is what we stayed in while we was at King
Big
Salmon.
mountain.
They're called Quonset huts. They're about 10, 15 guys in each one of those things, and old kerosene stoves. They stayed pretty warm, but that was about the size of it. Another picture of that little lake that was there. The radar units. All microwave. Just looking down from the other side of that mountain. You can imagine being stationed up here for 18 months. You can see us there with our big fur parkas on and our big heavy coats. When the sun went down up there, it got mighty cold on top of that mountain. Shot just towards dark. It was on the other side of the mountain there. Would see the salt water. That big tall thing you see there over to the right is the tail of a C-130. You can believe it or not, what you see there, it looks like a road, is actually the end of the runway. Those big, tall, black things there are radars, or microwave type radar. And what they did, those are aimed at Russia. And at the time when we were at Cold War with Russia, if Russia had fired a missile, it would have came up over the horizon, up over Alaska, headed for the United States. And these stations were set up to detect those missiles if they were fired. And that's all those guys did up there, was sit there and watch the radars and check for missiles. They did this for, must have been 30-some years. Before the Cold War ended. The guys up here, the station here, you know, they were here for 18 months, but they had a bar and they had video games or whatever, you know, the first type of video games, and they had their hobbies and stuff like that. But that's all they had to do. There was no place to go. These are radar at the same station, except these are communication radars. These are portable microwave units. These were the type of units I was assigned to while I was up there. Actually, the reason I went to Big Mountain there was an outfit from Georgia there, and they were having troubles with their microwave units. And so they flew me and two other guys up there to King Salmon, the Big Mountain, to see if we could fix it. And we did get it back online. Probably just an accident that we found the problem, because they had a whole unit up there that couldn't. But anyway, we got it running, and it was a successful mission. This is part of the airstrip there at Big Mountain. See, it's just all dirt. Big helicopter there in the picture. Well, kids, this is kind of, I like to say this is me leaving Alaska, headed back to the States. I hope you've enjoyed this. It's kind of reminiscent. Maybe you can see a little bit of what your granddad did when he was in the Air Guards. I've got movie film that I'm going to transfer and, on the VCR. Hopefully some of it will turn out. Maybe someday you kids can look at this. Remember your granddad.